Colombia is one of the four countries with the most availability of water resources in the world. This resource gives the Colombian landscape a very characteristic and unique way of living. Cities are built around water, and Bogotá is a prime example of this. Water bodies such as rivers, waterways, and wetlands play a very important role in the preservation of life and ecosystems. That's why we need to make sure we take their care and conservation very seriously. Through urban design, population centers can become more aware of the importance of these resources, living in a more harmonious way in between urbanized and natural areas. Colombia is a country in South America, which territory expands to over 1 million square kilometers. Mosquera is a town near to the capital city of Bogotá in Colombia. This town is rich in its history and culture and was once part of Funza, Cundinamarca, before it went independent in 1861. The current population ranges around 89,000 inhabitants.
Attracting corridors that were detected in the study area are the main reason Mosquera's municipality and surroundings generate visits. The airport, principal road Calle 13, first-hand connection with Bogota City and principal travel generator. On the cone side, we are located in between flood zones and numerous protected lands which could be considered detractor corridors because of the lack of urbanization. The development patches we detected are located in the south of Mosquera, where expansion and social activities could be developed. However, its location is surrounded by flood zones that could affect it. On the other hand, transforming patches were identified in the north, where there's less flood risks. Moreover, if industry is located there, it will not affect in a major impact. Custodian spots are highly relevant for the patches and the corridors development, and Mosquera is full of them. Here, we identify some of the social associations in charge of the vigilance and natural control of social development areas. In conclusion of the site analysis, we detected three main problematics in Mosquera. First of all, the flood zones, which are located in the south of Mosquera, where we also found the main aquifers, and also it is nearby the water paths. Second, the Bogota River pollution. We are located in the hydrological basin, main reason all the pollution ends up in our side. And finally, informal settlements. If we can't do something in order to stop it without urban planning, it becomes a problematic and a wrong way to grow and develop a city, decreasing life quality and increasing urban risks in these areas.
The main idea is to generate a comprehensive project that understands economic, social, cultural, and environmental aspects, that seeks to achieve a sense of belonging and rooting in the zone, activating it and making it a better place for everyone. Our main goals include providing public services to the informal settlements, sanitation and care of water bodies, protection and resilience against floods, strengthening of the local economy and culture, better, greener connectivity, and an overall ecological balance. The master plan is based on promoting economic and cultural development, seeking a sense of belonging in the Mosquera community, with the nature that is found there and the inhabitants' traditions. Infrastructure and equipment are provided to reinforce the city and its integral functioning. Connectivity within the city is improved by forming attractive corridors and public spaces that eradicate the social and geographical fragmentation between the north and the south. Now we're going to talk about our proposals and strategies.
Our first and most significant proposal is based on taking advantage of what Mosquera already has and is currently being ignored. Therefore, we propose our main line of connectivity through several green corridors surrounding this great wetland zone. These four main lines were chosen mainly because of their proximity to nature and their connectivity with all the equipment and industrial areas that will be developed along with the urban wetland project, as well as strategic points of Mosquera, such as the historical center. Its function is to make nature take presence in the inhabitants' day-by-day life and to create an attractive and green way of touring the city and enjoying it with everything it offers. Culture and environmental awareness are its main strengths. Corridor A is proposed along the main wetland to protect and divide it from the urban growth of the city. We are proposing a friendly environment for the natural habitat. Currently, there is no construction in the area shown. This corridor is mainly proposed to connect the historical center of the city with the proposed productive area in the north of the city, also connecting two of the other projects we are proposing. This large corridor will not only work as a way of communication, but also as a buffer zone in case that the water level rises and floodings might threaten the urbanized areas. Along with the Green Corridor, various docks are proposed along the wetland and specific points that will allow people to appreciate the landscape even when the water level rises. Throughout it, the different projects such as museums and cultural spaces that are also being considered will be nearer to the inhabitants and available for all of them to visit. Corridor B. Due to the lack of interest about the pollution of the Bogota River from the population that lives in the surroundings of it, we propose this corridor to create more awareness about the health and maintenance of it, in order to involve the population. Corridor B is also proposed to include pedestrian lanes, bike lanes, and recreational spaces in different areas bordering the river. It is located in the southern part of the master plan. Currently, the street is neglected, the views are not being taken in advantage, and it has difficult access in any other means of mobility other than the car. The road section is maintained with the current dimensions. The pedestrian bridges are renovated by making them safer to walk, and at the same time the corridor becomes a contemplative walk of the flower fields and a conductor of the interaction with the wetlands that exist in Mosquera. This proposal offers three ways of transportation that achieves a safe and more accessible passage to the center of the city and its surroundings. The road is currently neglected. The pedestrian crossings are dangerous and rough. The car is at the top of the street hierarchy, and the road does not take advantage of the visuals that the natural landscape has to offer. With our renewal proposal, we prioritize pedestrians, connecting them directly with nature through rest and contemplation areas, as well as protection against vehicles and external agents. The road becomes dynamic and interesting, which gives a new perspective to the existing agricultural landscape. The last main modification is in Corridor D, which is proposed as a part of the global improvement of connectivity within the formal urbanized areas in the north and the informal settlements in the south of Mosquera. For its renewal, we propose the inclusion of a bicycle lane, giving a new and a greener alternative of transportation for all the community.
Our second proposal is all about connection. In order to take advantage of the city's transportation project and enrich the connections of the north and the south side of Mosquera, we created public spaces where the development of recreational activities will give capital gains to the areas where these proposals are being spotted. These connections are strategically placed near the main crossways of mobility. The highway is no longer a barrier. Following the idea of taking advantage of what's already placed, we found interesting to enrich the Mosquera's public library San Juan Bosco, which is placed nearby the last metro station of the Regio Tram project, but as we can see, poorly connected with this principal and important railway, which will become a principal way of regional mobility, Calle 13. The proposal becomes an interesting cultural point which will connect our principal connectivity proposal, the Green Corridor, the Mosquera Historical Center, and this cultural proposal with Mosquera's public library. We plan to bring this empty space a media center and a playroom, which will give capital gains to the zone, making it a cultural point where learning activities can be developed. This project would be connected by an existing road which will lead the visitors to the Mosquera's public library and to enhance the connection to the Mosquera's historical center. As we can see, it is an ideal zone to bring new infrastructure and urban services and increase its potential. Recreational and educational activities will bring a great atmosphere to this new area, bringing freshness and comfort. The last part of this proposal is the accessibility we pretend to give to the train stations proposed in the existing project. It will bring a strong connectivity from north to south of Mosquera and will also connect public spaces with the transportation system, enriched with nature, thus creating a vivid green atmosphere to such an important road as it is Calle 13. Also, these new connections will shorten the way of access to our new expected proposals. Meanwhile, our third proposal is about urban services. These three potential lands were chosen for the need of a vivid atmosphere in the area. First of all, the goal is to give life to this limit of the wetland. It is surrounded mainly by industry, informal settlements, and free land. Principal reason that the area could become an insecure point. Above all, we pretend to provide protection and a positive aspect to these informal settlements that become vulnerable by being located in flood risk areas. Consequently, the creation of cultural and sports centers will give capital gains and a better quality of life to these vulnerable settlements. The areas chosen for proposals A and B are currently in disuse. They are large extensions of grasslands without any function. As can be seen, both zones are disconnected, as if the river was a barrier rather than a way of connection. These two proposals represent the union between both parties. The river becomes the protagonist of the area. Through it, we connect and give access to both museums by the wetland. The green corridor allows us to trace the path to be followed in a natural and pleasant way for visitors. The cultural center project we're proposing will help develop the urbanized area in the nearest point of expansion, located at the east of the existing town of Funza, delimiting natural and urbanized areas. This cultural center is meant to provide educational and recreational services and activities for all of the inhabitants, joining both formal and informal settlements and protecting large natural areas such as the wetland and its borders. As mentioned before, the surroundings of the wetland work both as a floatable park and as a buffer zone in case that the water level rises. The second project consists of a water museum and a treatment plant. The museum represents the importance of the wetlands and the river within Mosquera. It is a contemplative, interactive, and reflective museum, and the plant creates a cycle of cleaning and regeneration of the water that reinforces the reflection that the museum wants to create. The current state is just a large extension of disused grass fields. Water is part of the project. It guides and harmonizes the configuration of spaces. Public spaces are proposed to invite the user to be in direct contact with the wetlands and the river through interactive activities such as fountains and bridges, or in a contemplative way as it is the agora.
Three potential settlement areas are located within the study area in the northwest, east, and southern part of Mosquera. They are located near the main areas of culture and services and out of the risk zones. According to the existing informal settlements, it is intended to intervene through the provision of infrastructure such as public lighting, drainage, cleaning areas, schools, and other local services. Application area in current state. The housing development zones are linked to the attractor corridors, a fundamental part of urban wetland. The housing development consists of a standard subdivision for housing with lots of 6 meters width and 10 meters long approx, including basic supply areas and pedestrian ways with elements of vegetation and green spaces that allow the permeability of water to the subsoil, spaces that are also used for recreational and outdoor activities. In this zone, we pretend to regularize these informal settlements which were not notified regularly and do not have any street hierarchy. We propose to bring enough infrastructure to develop housing that offers a better life quality. By this proposal, the industrial area will not be affected or be affected because of the new street section allowing pedestrian and green spaces to be proposed. The main avenue is meant to be a space where the pedestrians feel comfortable walking, even when bad traffic is generated in the vehicle lanes. This road will have 4 car lanes, a two-way bike lane, and large free areas for walking and further densification or just as a green division between the street and the houses. Collector streets are essential to an effective mobility communication. These type of streets are proposed with 2 car lanes, one parking lane, and a single bike lane. Lastly, the local streets that lead to the housing areas are one way only and also count with a single parking lane on one side of the street. Our fifth productivity proposal. In the productive sector and contributing to treat the Bogota's river water, we propose to support a water treatment industry taking importance to the fact that we are in the limits of the hydrological basin. Therefore, in the south, which is closer to the wetland area, hydroponic agriculture industries will be developed. This represents an ideal proposal to save water, increase production, and a way for farmers to have higher yields in their crops without having to depend on the soil. Eventually, we got into this huge transformation, providing Mosquera community a new perspective of living, improving life quality without forgetting its current way of living, and turning problematic areas into opportunities of development, connection, and growth.
In conclusion, the Urban Wetland Project uses what it has at its disposal, takes it, improves it, and enhances it, bringing as a consequence a notable improvement in the economy, tourism, culture, and the quality of life of its inhabitants. The diversification of activities, production, and recreational areas will boost urban growth and solve social geographical problems, as well as awareness of the environment and its appreciation. Because after all, wetlands and natural elements are the heart of Mosquera.